best receiver duo in the AFC may be about to lose its title. Ja'Marr Chase is a Triple Crown winner, and T. Higgins will be a #1 receiver on most teams. But Denver just lined Jaylen Waddle up next to Courtland Sutton. So now the Broncos may have something even harder to defend. Two legit #1s with completely different ways to wreck a secondary. And the deeper we get into this argument, the messier it's going to get. So who actually has the best wide receiver duo in the AFC? And who else belongs in this debate?
Higgins bumps! Doesn't matter! Touchdown, Bengals!
Ja'Marr Chase, touchdown!
Wide open! Courtland Sutton caught for a touchdown!
It's Waddle, he's got it! Touchdown, Miami!
Ja'Marr Chase can wreck a game from anywhere on the field. Courtland Sutton has spent 8 years as one of the most consistent pass catchers in the league. T. Higgins routinely turns a covered throw and is 6 points. And Jaylen Waddle can erase an angle before a safety even realizes he took the wrong one. Put all 4 on the same screen and you get one hell of an argument. For years, Cincinnati has owned this conversation. Chase is a Triple Crown winner, Higgins is a Pro Bowler, and together they forced countless defensive coordinators to choose which sword they'd rather fall on. Then Denver went out and got Jaylen Waddle. Now Sutton gets paired with one of the fastest, most dangerous receivers in football, and suddenly the Broncos have a duo that looks completely different. There may not even be a clear #1. There may not need to be. So who has the better pair? Does Chase being the best receiver of the 4 settle it? Does Denver's balance change the equation? And once we bring Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, and 2 very different offensive lines into this, does the answer move again? We're about to sort all of that out. Before we do, subscribe to Snaptown if this is your kind of football argument, because this one could look very different by December. Let's start with the easy part. Ja'Marr Chase is the best receiver in this discussion. He won the Triple Crown in 2024 with 127 catches, 1,708 yards, and 17 touchdowns. That's insane. Then he came back in 2025 and caught another 125 balls for 1,412 yards. At this point, defenses know exactly where Burrow wants to go, so they devote entire game plans to stopping him, but Chase keeps getting fed anyway. That alone gives Cincinnati an enormous head start.
Flacco, lost one. Chase makes this catch.
Then you get to T. Higgins. Higgins has spent most of his career playing beside Chase, which can make it easy to forget exactly what he is. He's 6'4", wins downfield, wins at the catch point, and has averaged more than 1,000 receiving yards over a 17-game season for his career. In 2025, he had 11 touchdowns and earned his first Pro Bowl selection of his career. Put Higgins on a team without Ja'Marr Chase, and nobody is having a conversation about whether he's a #1 receiver. Cincinnati gets to have this guy as its #2. And the hierarchy works because Higgins may be the most unselfish receiver in the game. If he isn't, Courtland Sutton is, but we'll get to that in a minute. In Cincinnati, Chase gets the volume. Higgins gives Burrow another big-time target who could punish a defense for leaning too hard on Chase. The Bengals have been running this partnership since Chase arrived in 2021, and both receivers are under contract together through at least 2028. That's cue when we start talking about Denver, and because the Broncos are still dealing in projection. Waddle and Sutton look fantastic together on paper. Chase and Higgins have already done it. So Denver isn't trying to match some theoretical standard, they're trying to knock off the guys who already own it. Any Bronco fan can tell you Courtland Sutton has been hiding in plain sight. He's topped 1,000 yards for each of the last 2 seasons, made the Pro Bowl in 2025, and gave Bo Nix a big reliable target who could win outside, work the middle, and make life miserable for smaller corners. Now Denver gave him Jaylen Waddle, and this is where the argument gets fun. Waddle already has 3 1,000-yard seasons. His best came in 2022 when he put up 1,356 yards and averaged a ridiculous 18.1 yards per catch. Last year wasn't that. He finished with 64 catches for 910 yards and 6 touchdowns while playing in a bizarro offense that somehow found fewer grams for its #1 receiver than its running back, Devon Achane. Mike McDaniel's final Dolphins offense was a strange place, which is why he's gone. Now Waddle enters Sean Payton's offense with new coordinator Davis Webb taking over primary calling duties in 2026. Webb came over from the Giants in 2023 and earned the ultimate stamp of approval from Payton. Now he takes full control. We'd expect him to unleash the next level of Denver's offensive playbook. The thing is, Denver didn't trade a first-round pick for Waddle because they needed somebody to stand on the other side of Sutton and look threatening. Payton had what he called a crystal clear vision for Waddle before the trade ever happened. Move him from the slot to the outside, shift him back, and use his speed and quickness all over the formation. That's where Sutton and Waddle start becoming a nightmare to sort out. Sutton is 6'4" and 216 pounds. Waddle is a burner. Sutton can buy you a corner at the catch point. Waddle can make the same corner spend Sunday afternoon wondering why the safety never got there. Pick your problem. And unlike Cincinnati, Denver doesn't have to decide which guy is the clear #1. There could be weeks where Sutton gets 10 targets because the matchup favors him. There could be weeks where Webb moves Waddle everywhere and lets him terrorize a secondary that can't find him before the snap. Even Waddle has talked about how Sutton makes his job easier because defenses have to account for an elite playmaker on the opposite side.
My receiver group and the defense and everyone is it's like a big family here, and just make it easy to come to work.
Obviously, some of the things he does well, watching him on film and being able to see it up close, man, he's a special dude.
That's the Denver argument. Chase and Higgins have the better resume. Sutton and Waddle might be a harder parent to label. And when both guys can legitimately walk into a game expecting wide receiver 1 treatment, the next question becomes pretty important. Who's throwing them the football, and how long do they get to throw it? Right now, Joe Burrow is the better quarterback. In fact, he's the most accurate passer in league history. And yeah, that matters.
Man, Joey B, that boy's a monster. I mean, I'm just calling it what it is. That boy's a monster. I didn't seen it. I didn't been around it.
Burrow has years of chemistry with Chase and Higgins and can spend an afternoon carving up a defense that knows exactly who he wants to throw to. That's a huge advantage for Cincinnati. Denver doesn't care. They'll take their guy every day of the week, and their advantage starts 5 feet in front of Bo Nix. Coming into 2026, the Broncos have one of the nastiest offensive lines in football. Garrett Balls and Quinn Miners were both first-team All-Pros last season. Denver enters 2026 with the continuity, depth, and talent up front to give Nix time to let Sutton and Waddle go to work, and that changes everything. Give Waddle another half second, and somebody has to chase him. Give Sutton another half second, he gets more time to bully his way into position downfield. Give Nix the clean pocket, and Davis Webb gets to use the entire slate of playmakers. Don't sleep on the fact that Webb taking over gives Denver a new voice calling the game without throwing out the system Nix has already grown up in. Cincinnati's front deserves some credit here too. This isn't the old Bengals offensive line that had Burrow running for his life every Sunday. Cincinnati returns all 5 starters from what the team considers the best line of Burrow's career with another offseason together to build on it. Denver still gets the edge up front, Cincinnati gets the bigger edge at quarterback. And that's why this receiver debate stays so damn close. Chase and Higgins get Burrow, Sutton and Waddle get an elite wall in front of Bo Nix and his ability to keep plays alive. So now we've got 4 receivers, 2 very different setups, and one last question. Are these really the 2 best duos in the AFC? Before we hand this thing to Cincinnati or Denver, the rest of the AFC has some other pairs worth arguing about. Houston starts with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Collins is already a legit number 1, and the healthy Dell gives CJ Stroud one of the fastest, twitchiest second options in the conference. The problem is the word healthy. Dell missed the entire 2025 season recovering from the brutal knee injury he suffered late in 2024, and he's only just now returned to 11-on-11 drills in training camp. We'd love the ceiling, but we need to see the guys stay on the field. Then there's Kansas City. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy have enough speed and talent to earn a spot on this conversation by how to lead. They also have plenty to prove. Worthy needs to become a consistent week-to-week threat instead of a guy defenses fear because of what might happen. And Rice has spent way too much of the last 2 years dealing with injuries, suspensions, and legal problems instead of football. Until both of these things happen, we're not putting KC in the same class as Cincinnati or Denver. Honestly, after that, the duo talk gets thin. Baltimore has Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Flowers absolutely belongs here, but Bateman is the question. Pittsburgh's DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman have a better case, but we get roasted for trying to put them in the same conversation with the Broncos of the Bengals. So we'll leave it at that. And NFC fans, we'll do another video to get the Puka Adams versus JSN and whoever ends up as wide receiver 2 in Seattle debate going soon enough, which brings us back to the 2 teams we started with. And right now, Cincinnati keeps the belt. Jamar Chase is the best receiver of this entire argument. T. Higgins is a Pro Bowl caliber number 2 who would be the number 1 on a bunch of NFL rosters. They've already proven the partnership works. Denver has to prove theirs. But Sutton and Waddle may have the higher ceiling as a true 1A, 1B combination. There could be Sundays when Sutton comes the game. There could be Sundays when Waddle does. And if Bo Nix takes another step from behind that offensive line, Denver could make this argument very uncomfortable for Cincinnati. So entering 2026, give us Chase and Higgins as the best receiver duo in the AFC. Give us Sutton and Waddle as the pair with the best chance to take that title away. And if we're having this conversation again in January, we're not betting the answer stays the same. So let us know which AFC duo you're taking and subscribe to Snap Count for more NFL breakdowns without the usual hot take circus. And we'll see you in the next one.